friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. This is actually one of the first ones I dug into today. It's called Withering Scorn is the band, their album Prophets of Demise. Now this is out of Frontiers Records, and I just pretty much know at this point I'm gonna like it if it's from Frontiers Records, and it's just always a matter of how much. Some stuff has been kind of, it's okay, and there's other stuff that's actually kind of blown me away from this label. It's an Italian label, kind of, they used to like really focus on melodic rock. Now they've gotten a little bit heavier in their signings, and they got some pretty heavy bands on this. This one, I feel, falls somewhere in the middle there. In case nobody knows who this band is, the reason I was kind of interested in this one, I want to listen to it first, is because it's from a couple former Megadeth members, Sean and Glenn Drover, who are the drummer and the guitar player in the band for different periods of time. They weren't actually, there's a point there where they weren't both in the band at the same time, a couple of different points in time where they quit. It's also got the Joey DiBiase on bass, who was from Fate's Warning. I don't even know if I'm saying that name right, but he was in Fate's Warning for quite a few years, at least 10-15 years, somewhere in that ballpark. And the vocalist on this one is a guy named Henning Bassi, or Bassi. These names, I don't know, I'm terrible with them. He sang for Metallium and Firewind and some other projects and stuff. I mainly remember him more from Firewind because I got into Firewind way back when Ozzy's new guitar player came from Firewind, so I was familiar with the singing on it, but his style of singing is extremely thick. It's got a really thick voice. It's kind of got a really thick tone to it with a little bit of growl and a gravel to it. And there's only 8 songs on this album, so it was fairly short, but when this album kicked in, it was like, man, it's like a smack to the face. One thing I noticed right off the bat is that the guitars and drums were mixed really loud, and the bass is audible, no problem. It's not really up front at all, but it's still got a really strong feel to it. Not quite as bad as like the Metallica or anything like that. This whole album feels very thick and full. But the singing was, man, really down on the mix, kind of low, and I would have probably boosted that up a little bit more, just personally, just because I'm struggling to hear it at a couple points in time. As far as the songs go, it's kind of funny that the drummer there, Sean, writes most of the music. It was funny because I didn't know that until after I kind of like started looking at the who did what on this, and I guess it was recorded in guitarist Glenn's. He's got a studio of his own. It was recorded with him, and I guess way back in their old band that they had, I can't remember the name of the band. It's kind of Edeon or something like that. It was on Metal Blade Records. They had a few albums out there. I don't remember exactly how many. I actually never got any of those. Probably should have, because if it was like this, I probably would have really enjoyed it. So I'm probably going to have to check those out afterwards. It's just so much music out there. It's hard to get it all. And I really do try to get it all. And anyway, so Sean writes most of the music. I guess he did back for that band too. And the funny thing is, when I was listening to it, I was like, man, the guitar player is just killer, because I've seen him play, and he is just phenomenal. It's like a virtuoso player. I was thinking, why can't these guys come up with anything that's a little bit more unique and of their own? Because it's good, but it doesn't, there's nothing in it that really jumps out at you as like, oh, I've never heard that before, that's cool. Which I was kind of hoping for, knowing who was in it. The Anthrax, they have their drummer writes all the music. It really works for them. It kind of defines their sound. They came out and they had a little bit of a sound of their own way back, when they first started out. They stood out from the other thrash bands. This doesn't do that with these guys for me anyway. Like I said, this music's really good. It's solid. They're great songs, performed phenomenally well. But nothing in the songs themselves really came out and stood out as something, oh wow, that's just super unique. I've never heard that before. But still good nonetheless. I would actually put this on and still listen to it. So it's not a dig. I was just, hoping for something different. One little thing I was noticing as I was listening to it is that the singing, there's not a whole lot of catchy melody to it, and he does sing. It's not just yelling or anything like that. You'd hope for a little bit more melody, but he doesn't have a super. His range doesn't seem like it's all that great or wide. So I know if it was me, I mean, I like the fact that his voice fits well with the music, but maybe some better, more stronger melodies. I shouldn't say catchier, because catchy kind of makes you think like, you know, melodic, but you know, you can have catchy even without it being like melodic. You can you can have a cool vocal part that still reaches out and grabs you, as long as it's unique and, you know, becomes its own part of the song instead of just kind of blending in. And for me, that was just the one thing that I thought was the weakest point. But other than that, pretty good album. I would probably rate this like, you know, like, I don't know, 7 out of 10, somewhere there. Just because, you know, like I said, it's short. It's only 8 songs, and the mix was a little off, and just not that strong of a melody. Otherwise, everything else was really good about it. Like I said, if somebody put it on, I would still listen to it and think it was good, but nothing super strong about it. Maybe if they continue on this with this band, they'll come out with something a little bit stronger on the next one. Maybe let Glenn do a little bit more writing. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. As always, just my opinion, and I, you know, welcome everybody else's. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, as I always ask for. Love the comments, and the nice ones. I mean, let's not be mean to each other either. I mean, I can take it, whatever. I'll just delete it. But I hate to want to see people are mean to each other. So let's try not to do that. It's just music. That's all it is. It's just music. We all have different opinions on it. We like what we like. We don't like what we don't like. It's just as simple as that. So anyway, talk to you guys on the next one. See you.